Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Mike Williams here, White Label Consulting. I had a setup today for a live stream here in the studio, Premier Studios, and I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. This video is brought to you by Custom. It is the quintessential Christian clothing line in Phoenix, Arizona. If you are looking for some clothing that's affordable, please hit us up and put Custom in at checkout, and you will get 35% off your purchase. Back to the show. Once again, I had a setup for a client, and what happened is I needed to actually had to record their Zoom call. And so obviously the creator will record the Zoom call on his own, but I actually wanted to set it up here at the studio so that the individuals could have a copy of it. And so I just want to show you how to set up OBS with my setup. Hopefully you can do it with your setups, and I'll go in here real quick to split screen, and I'm going to put my screen up here. What I want to do is I want to go over here. Oops, I forgot I have these things set up to hotkey into split screen. So let me do this here. Okay, so I want to go over to this gear icon right here, and I want to hit the virtual camera is already installed. You don't have to do any plugins. I mean, there are some other plugins you can use, like virtual source record and different things like that, but you don't need that for here. You want to pick your output source. Okay, so by default you have program view, and I'll show you. Program view is just going to duplicate whatever comes out of your program view, and then you can do preview, which would be another screen, which would be your left screen for if you're in studio mode. You can preview an entire scene for virtual camera, or you can do a source. I'm going to actually hit the settings icon, and I want to change this to source, and I want to change this to my camera output. Okay, once I change that to my camera output, what that allows me to do is that means no matter what my scene is on my program view, my Zoom will see just my camera. Now, obviously, if you're doing something like presentation with slides or something like that, you could automatically do that as well. But say like if I wanted to send this whole screen right here to Zoom, and if there was a presentation I was doing, I could send this all to Zoom and make it look a lot more professional. So once I do that, I'm going to start my virtual cam. Right now, after I do that, I'm going to start a meeting. I'm going to schedule a meeting, and let's just say start meeting now. Start meeting. Okay, good. Now I'm going to start this meeting. I'm going to open Zoom meetings. It's going to open up my Zoom meeting. Now, when I get to the point to where I'm getting ready to start this meeting, what you will see here is you will see that I have the option to pick my video. Now, I could pick my camera on my laptop, which I don't use, or I could directly pick my Blackmagic ATM, which I can't use because I'm using it in OBS. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pick my virtual camera. Obviously, there's nothing right now on the virtual camera software that the user can see. As soon as I click start virtual camera right here, I'm going to pick virtual camera. Then I turn on the video. As you can see, Zoom sees my actual camera and not my output, and that's what I wanted to see. Right, if I were going to switch my settings here, and I'll try to keep this where you can see it all. If I go here into the settings and I change this, I'm gonna move this over here to program view. I'm gonna click OK, and now Zoom, this is what Zoom is seeing. Zoom is seeing the output of my OBS. I don't want it to see that yet, but that's the beauty of using the virtual camera. You can switch your views using the virtual camera setting and still get a very professional looking Zoom. And I think it comes out a little bit higher quality. So I'm going to change this back by hitting the gear icon back to source. I'm going to pick my camera and click OK. It's going to stop. And that's what Zoom sees. Zoom sees the output of my OBS. So I can play with the audio, but I don't need to do all that. But when I go into a meeting, this is actually what OBS will see. It will see a clear picture of my camera. If you have a pretty decent computer, the latency is almost zero. I mean, as you can tell, let me move over here in the camera over here. Yeah, if you can see, it's almost instant video transmission, right? Now, the only thing you do have to set up is you have to set up your audio. So here, I have a sound card that can actually be duplex in its use. So I actually can pick the audio which I can use, which is actually my audio that I'm using for OBS, and then I can also select the speaker mic, which would be able to monitor it through my sound card, which is my Focusrite 2 in 2 out. So audio is that way, and you're set. You don't want to monitor any audio from OBS. You don't want to do anything other than send the video signal out. And you want to make sure, like I said, if you have a sound card, that works best because the latency on the sound card can be adjusted on your computer. We're at a place nowadays where you don't need a $5,000 computer. A $500 to $700 computer can be able to do this, and it operates really well. Once I start this meeting, you will notice that I'm able to, at any point, right, change my layout to whatever I want to change it to. So I actually can go here to my settings and, oh, not my settings, go here to my virtual camera. I can change it to my program out again and click OK. And so that way Zoom gets to see this presentation right here, right? So let me show you what the benefits are, right, of doing that. And I switched over to my live cam. I'm going to pull up my, CapCut, right? And I'm going to, I can't play the video, right? But let me show you what it looks like when I actually set up a scene. I am going to, let me switch over to my split screen. So this is what it looks like in CapCut, right? I can take the output of my OBS, right, and send this over to Zoom. Now what happens is I had the host here on the right was interviewing our guest or person who booked the studio on the left, and I was able to set up a very custom look. The way I did this is I placed this, I placed the host on the left, which was just the ATN Mini. So I used the ATN Mini goes into the ATN Mini is going into OBS, and I'm sending the virtual output of that to Zoom. So Zoom sees this, and then on the screen, right, I have a TV, external monitor here in the studio. I have the interviewer. So on the screen, I have the interviewer. So I'm using a display capture to capture my second monitor, and I'm using the actual input video from my OBS, which is my video capture card, to be able to lay this out whichever way I wanted to. So when it starts out, they start out essentially looking like this. That's what they start out looking, because that's how the default Zoom is, right? And so I'm able to crop out the Zoom, right, through some other tutorials, which I'll get into. Yeah, this is how they start out. They start out just like this. By separating the sources and by placing them in a way to where the individual sources are not linked to each other like this in the Zoom window, you get this. This is what you get. So this right here on the left is a video capture card. This right here on the right is a display capture of the audio, right? And that then the overlay is simply something that we got from Uno Overlays. We just picked an overlay from Uno Overlays. We input the names here through the browser source, right? And then they were able to actually run a full interview. And instead of the client getting this view for their video, they get this view. So this looks, and we changed the background a little bit while they were talking. But the point is they were using this for promotional purposes, but this tends to look a whole lot better than this. And if you want me to do a tutorial about how to set this up fully, please comment down below and let me know if you want me to go through it. It takes about 15 minutes. Well, it takes me 15 minutes to set it up, and I can walk through the audio setup as well. But this is the reason why I would use my OBS to send to my virtual output for Zoom, because the fact is I can customize it if I'm trying to record it. So they're going to get a custom layout for their video, which is not going to look like the layout of the Zoom call. And the other thing is being able to multi-track record the audio. I'm able to separate out the audios. If I switch back over here to my screen, you'll notice down here at the bottom of the screen that and they had a third person come in, which I didn't have time to set that up, but you'll notice down here at the bottom of the screen, I have the interviewer's audio separated out from the actual interviewees, our guest, our client talent audio. So as you can see right here, there's that benefit of being able to send this all customizable layout. To make this customizable is that it allows me to control the sources, control the scenes, control the layouts, adjust the audio. So when I go back and edit, I can cut out certain parts of the interview if I need to. But I would say the next time you have to do a Zoom, consider sending your output or a source from OBS through the virtual cam, and maybe that'll help your Zoom look a little better or help you better with your presentations, right? So this is your tutorial today. Thank you for watching. God bless, and you guys have a great night.